Boys, a few days ago, I told you about the huge opportunity that is presented in Polymarket's prediction markets. The truth behind that is there is a huge opportunity, but unless you really understand tech, politics, sports, finance, stuff like that, you're really going to have a hard time trading this. So what if I told you I found a method of trading? You need no skills whatsoever. You don't have to understand all about Iran or will the regime fall before 2027. You don't have to understand any of that. You don't have to do any research. It is solely your mind and your fingers clicking a screen. And this method has made me over $800 from $50. I started a few days ago, and I literally started by depositing $50 and I made $800. Okay, these are my trades right here, and yes, it is on the Bitcoin up or down on the 15-minute time frame. So in today's video, I'm going to walk through exactly how I made $800 from $50 trading the up or down on Bitcoin. Now, this wasn't just one trade that hit a crazy 100x. No, this was strategic. And you can see these are consistent, 15 to even 40% gains using my strategy. Okay, guys, so without further ado, let me break down my exact strategy that you guys need to start using and some hidden benefits that are behind the strategy as well, which we'll go over later. The first thing you're going to need is a Polymarket terminal. Personally, I use Bullpen because it has the lowest fees, quickest transactions, and honestly the best UI in the game right now. As well as they're backed by a lot of large creators. Ansem is actually the co-founder of Bullpen. So with that being said, I really trust Bullpen and I believe in what they're building with their product. Now, the main reason why we are using Bullpen is we can farm Bull points. Okay, so Bullpen is launching their token very soon. You can farm Bull points by trading this. You can farm so much volume, whereas if you're aping something like this, Jerome Powell federally charged, you're going to place one bet on this and then you're going to let it sit for a few months. Whereas with Bullpen, you're going to be trading literally every 15 minutes, taking $100 trades, and that's going to feed your volume so much. So I would definitely recommend using a terminal just like Bullpen because you can farm the Polymarket volume and also Bullpen volume. And we already know that Polymarket did say they were going to launch a token somewhere in the near future. So might as well just farm all the volume you can get. So that is why I personally use Bullpen. So to start trading on Bullpen, you are going to need an early access code. Okay, I dropped my code right in the description. Once you join that, you are going to need a Polymarket Pro code. So you guys can DM me on X and I will get you sorted with that. And they are dropping their codes very soon. So you guys won't even need the codes. But for the next little bit, you are definitely going to need a code in order to get into the prediction market side of the trading. And this is, the Polymarket add-on to Bullpen. So what you're going to want to do from here is you simply go to crypto. We're going to go to the 15-minute time frame. And basically what this 15-minute time frame is if we go to a trading view software, we can see this is the charts. This basically tells us, Solana's price, Bitcoin's price, all that good stuff. You guys have seen a chart before. But what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to click 15M right here. And this is going to be every 15-minute candle. Okay, so for example, this 15-minute candle closed red. Okay, let me highlight that. This 15-minute closed red, all of these 15 minutes closed red, then this one right here closed green. We are basically betting if they're going to close red or green. Okay, so basically how a candle flips to red, if you guys don't already know, is it might do it right here. It basically just has to flip this bottom line right here. But basically what we are betting on is what color the candle is going to close, or in other words, if it's going to close up or down. Okay, so that is basically what we're betting here. Personally, I like using Bitcoin. You can use Solana, Ethereum, XRP, but Bitcoin just doesn't move as much as them because it's not as volatile. So I do like using Bitcoin for these trades. Now you can see here, once you click on the charts, we're able to see a live chart, and you guys can switch it from different time frames. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, just use whatever looks best to you, but we don't even really care about this chart. All that we care about is these live odds right here. And then down here, you can also see it, right? If I put $1 in, how much I'm going to make $1.40. But you can basically see here, there's a 77% chance, and it's growing by the second, chance that Bitcoin is going to close green. Okay, so if we head over to the Bitcoin chart, we can just do that by searching up BTC. And then you go over to the Coinbase chart. In my opinion, it's the best chart. You can see that Bitcoin is green right now. On the 15-minute time frame, it is green. However, that doesn't mean we want to buy it, okay? That does not mean we want to buy it. You can see here, there's still 9 minutes left of this candle. These candles can do crazy things, as you've seen right here, right? Where it wicks down, wicks back up. For example, here, wicks fully down, then basically almost flipped. It can do some crazy things within 9 minutes. So with our strategy, we want to be entering very, very late, ideally within the last 2 minutes of that candle, okay? And I have a lot of tips for you guys on like when you shouldn't be entering, when you should be entering, stuff like that, which I'll go over in a second here. But I just want you guys to understand the core aspect of this trading strategy. Basically, all the strategy is we are just waiting for that last second before the time closes to enter our position, and we are going to scalp, a 10, 20, potentially even 30% gain from this. And you guys might be thinking, okay, well, 20%, 10%, what is that going to do for me? Well, it's when it adds up, right? These wins can keep adding up, and a $100 bet, you're making 20% on that, you're making $20 every 15 minutes. So if you add it up, if you're making $20 every 15 minutes, you're making like $80 an hour. That's better than most minimum wages. So guys, you just have to think in the scalping terms, right? You can't be thinking, oh, well, I'm only making $20. Guys, every 15 minutes, if you can make $20, that's crazy, right? It's better than most people will make, and it's consistent. It doesn't lose a lot of the time because we are waiting until that last second, and we are getting so much confirmation before we actually put our trade on. So while we wait for this candle to close, it's going to take about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. I'm going to go through some of the candles which you should not be entering on, in my personal opinion, if you want to preserve capital, okay? Because there's a lot of things that the market will try to fake you out with and try to make you lose. So the first thing you definitely don't want to be entering off of is called a doji candle. Okay, doji candles are these small candles right here, which are literally made to fake out, traders. Okay, these candles have very large wicks and very small bodies. The body is the colored in part, and the wick is, well, you guys know what a candlestick is. The wick is this part right here of a candlestick. We don't want to be entering when the moves are super small, especially like this, right? When we're in consolidation like this, we do not want to be entering these trades because they can flip so easily, right? For example, let's say you were buying in this instance right down here. You guys can see just how like small of a fraction or ratio, whatever you want to call it, it closed red, right? So if you were in the green right here, you're like, okay, it's going to close green. Look, all it had to make was that small move down, and it ended up closing red. Okay, so when you are buying into these positions, you really need to wait for a lot of volume. You need to wait for large, really large moves, right? So let's say, this candle right here started going down. You could enter when it's right here, or even, just wait until the last few minutes for when it's here, then enter. Whereas, candles like this, like the one before it, you don't want to be entering these candles before it. Does that make sense, guys? You want to be waiting for these very large candles to be created before you enter. Okay, so we are not going to be entering on these ones. We're going to be entering on the long, big candles. And so right now you guys can see there's 2 minutes left in the market. What I like doing here in this instance, when everything is 99%, there's no point in taking that trade. So I'll go to the lowest potential right here on XRP. It's at a 50% chance, so maybe we won't take it, but we can check the XRP chart. And I actually have $0 in my account because I just withdrew it because I'm starting a $100 to $10,000 challenge. So that will be, in the next few days, we're going to start that challenge on YouTube. Right here, this would not be a trade I'm taking. Why? Because it's such a small candle. This can flip either way so easily. Whereas something like Bitcoin right now, right, we have a very large green candle. It's not the best. We would like it to be higher. These odds are kind of high on Bitcoin right now, but it's fine. Something like Solana, we can even check Solana because, that's an easy 3% if we win. Solana, you could potentially enter this right here, but for me, 2% gain on this isn't the best odds. I could definitely see it flipping, so I would just skip out on this. I'm waiting for, these large moves in order to actually take my orders. But yeah, that's basically the method that you want to be trading, guys. It's literally just about consistency and it's about quantity. Okay, if you're trading, once again, this 15-minute time frame, if you're trading every 15 minutes making $20, you are making more than the average adult. It is that simple. You guys don't have to go for these crazy $200 wins and then the next trade you're losing like $700, right? You are not going to be profitable like this. And quite frankly, this trading style is so much easier than having to understand all the news. Like, this is just pure gambling. How much tweets is Elon posting, right? This is gambling, stuff like this. Portugal presidential election. Nobody really knows, who is nominated to the Fed chair. You might not even know what a Fed chair is, right? So this opportunity with crypto in the 15-minute is so good at first, farming that volume for all those different airdrops that you could be making money on. And second of all, it's such an easy way to make money in these Polymarket markets without, risking all your bankroll on some of these dumb trades like ice shooter charged by March 31st. So boys, I hope you guys learned a very, very valuable trading strategy. All my links will be in the description. If you guys want Bullpen's trading terminal, it will be down in the description. DM me on my X right here and say, LLV, I need a Polymarket code. Send me a Polymarket code. I will gladly send you early access for Bullpen. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Hope you can make some real money with this strategy. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.